And I do have a question that's going to serve sort of as a point of departure. And when you guys answer, we'll just go, down the row with the first question. When you answer, please start with an introduction. Just a quick introduction of yourself before you actually give the response to the question, okay? So in the talk, we were talking about progress, historical progress, taking steps forward and not taking steps back, right? The refusal to take steps back. On your campuses, and again, in your introduction, please introduce yourselves and let us know what campus you're from. On your campus, are there one or two things, right, that would really represent for you and your students, and maybe even your faculty and staff, that would really represent a forward step towards greater social justice, inclusion, and equity? Okay? And so I'm going to ask Courtney if she wouldn't mind starting by answering that question. Thank you.
Hello. Oh, wow. Okay. So my name is Courtney Showell, and I am a senior at Calvin College. And I would say that my one step forward for colleges in general, I guess, would be a focus on the professors and the staff, and kind of making sure that we're holding them accountable as well for being knowledgeable of social justice issues, and that they're actually taking efforts to move forward in that. I know some places will do that, and it's kind of like an afterthought. It's a requirement, and you give them a bunch of opportunities to do that within a few months. The next thing you know, it's December, and they're like, oh, shoot, I got to do that thing again with the diversity stuff. And then they just kind of something that they swept under the rug, and it just shows that it's something that they don't take seriously. And if they don't take something as simple as that, going to a workshop, I can't say how much they take seriously the students of color that are on campus. So I would say just making sure that we hold them accountable in that sense, and making sure that they are engaged with the students. I've heard from too many of my friends who are afraid to stand up for themselves out of fear of failing the class due to a professor who has thoughts that are so strong, and then if you say something, they would treat you differently for the rest of the semester. So there's a lot of talk about being open to discussion, but that's on the faculty and staff side as well. They have tons of great information to give us. That's why they're professors, but learning is not a one-way street. They can learn from the students as well.
Hello, my name is China Longmire. I'm a senior here at Davenport University studying finance. One thing that I would definitely say, being here for 3 years, coming from a bigger university, I feel the students of color here at Davenport, we need somewhere to go as a safe haven, maybe a diversity center. We do have great staff here at Davenport that do care. I wouldn't say that we don't have professors or faculty that don't care, because they do, but some students don't know how to reach out to those faculty and staff and professors, or they may not feel comfortable. So having a center where students could come and faculty also could come, so that we're able to get together, because right now at Davenport University, I feel like a lot of students of color just feel like we're just here, especially being a lot of us on athletic scholarships, or some of us may have came here because we felt like our degree would mean more coming here, because we could have gave up. Some people may feel like we gave up an experience of that we could have went to a HBCU, or we could have went to a bigger campus where we felt more comfortable, but we chose to come to Davenport for those scholarships or for that degree. So I feel like it should be on the university, too, to make us feel comfortable.
Hi, my name is Yordano Stessi. I'm a junior at Hope College. One thing Dr. Bremer mentioned with talking about social justice is he talked about how the West Michigan President's Compact was made out of a vision. And I think too often we were reactive in our responses. Just for example, when 45 makes a political statement relating to DACA, it shouldn't take a week for administration to know their stance, because there are students who are constantly affected. I think one thing that our Center for Diversity and Inclusion has done well is the implementation of a diversity institute where they have workshops where you can train to be culturally competent. And I think other universities and colleges could adopt a similar program. One thing, I guess, distinct to Christian liberal arts schools is that they really want to nurture the Christian faith on campus, right? And you know, the Bible calls us to learn to do right and seek justice and so on. And I think we have to be intentional in professors and faculty, like staff, faculty, students, like Cornette said, in attending these spaces that are available because they are here. And I think so often it's a heavy weight on our centers for diversity, inclusion, or multicultural education too. So, yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna use this mic. Thank you, though. Hi, my name is Ranch, because I be dressing. Just kidding. I like to, before I speak, I like to give a little joke, you know, just to ease the room up. Is that okay? I'm a little goofy, y'all. Is that okay? Well, my name is Devin Wesley. I'm a junior at Grand Valley State University, and my major is human resource management. So just going back to the question, a thing that well, before I start that, I want to give a shout out to the black faculty at Grand Valley. That's my uncle, Uncle Turan, that's him. He actually started the Black Excellence Orientation, which is his first year takeoff this year, which is allowing freshmen of black freshmen coming in and, you know, just get them acquainted to the college university. So without him, that would not have been here. But a lot of the freshmen are coming to me afterwards saying, hey, what's next? You know, I'm in a classroom full of white people. I don't know how to talk to people. I don't know how to relate to these people. So maybe if we could take that program, it can make a continuance of that, just allowing for others, you know, other minorities and other ethnicities on campus, you know, get like, you know, white students to come in, white faculty to come in, and then get them acclimated to what the real world is like. Because at the end of the day, the real world is not a room full of black people, you know. We're going to be surrounded by people who are of different ethnicities, different diversity, different religious beliefs, and also and all that, you know, all that good stuff. And then we could also go to the other spectrum. You know, at transitions, being a freshman, you go to transitions. They have the sex talk. Okay, that's cool. You know, they have the improv club. That's cute. You guys can act. That's nice. Okay, but let's be real. Let's keep it real. What's going on in the real world? Let's get like things like this, a panel of students to, or even faculty, and then reach out to like the LGBTQ community. Let's get people who are different from you, and let's have a real talk discussion. Let's have a panel at transitions so that you guys are aware of what's going on in this campaign, what's going on in this world. So that, you know, it's not new to you when you see the things on the news, and you're also not prepared of what to do. You know, we have a lot of white advocates on Grand Valley. They want to do something. Let's get something like a panel. Let's do something at transitions or orientation so that you guys are better prepared for when you come to campus.
Hello, my name is Dennis Martinez. I'm from Grand Rapids Community College. Something concrete that I've been thinking about that we could do at my community college, because I do know that the students are only there for like at least 2 years, is perhaps have like a room, like we were talking about like affinity houses, and I was thinking, well, we have a prayer room, but how about we get like a Hispanic, Black, white affinity rooms, just so like when students are there, they can connect with other students and like network. I like to like reach out to a lot of different people and just talk and like invite them to the Hispanic student organization that's at school, whether you're Black, white, or Hispanic. And I think like a lot of the students at like this 2-year institute don't think that they can like really connect because they're only there for 2 years. And I feel like we do have a lot of staff support. It's just that maybe we need to have more flyers everywhere, more staff outreach towards the student, like within the class, like, hey, there's these groups you can join, at least for that first week, so that students know and are informed about like the different clubs, and that they don't feel like they just can go in and then come out and then that's it, and then, oh, I'm on to a 4-year, and like they don't even like do any networking beforehand, and they're just like starting fresh again.
Sorry, I'm a little sick. My name is Sanara Matthew. I am a senior here at Davenport University. My major is network security and network management and design, Cisco administration specialty. My professor is actually over there. He's really cool. So something that I noticed, first I didn't really know how to answer this question, but in listening to these answers, I noticed that What's your name? Yes, you, in the water, with the water, yes. Jordanis. She said that there's a center for multicultural office, the Center for Diversity, Equity, Inclusion. And on the Davenport campus, it's just Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And being a previous office assistant to the head of DEI, it's just her. And it's overwhelming for her, I mean, at least from what I could see. And she does a lot of stuff that I would call third floor level stuff, which is management, executive, all higher up stuff, paperwork, forms, documentations. But one big thing that I noticed that wasn't there was the lack of student anything, in my opinion. And I understand, when I say anything student, yes, everything revolves around the student, the whole office. But she didn't really get to communicate with students in a way that the Center for Campus Life, Student Life actually does, in a way where I'm able to go to her and have like a full-blown conversation about anything that's related to Black Lives Matter or the protesting the national anthem in that sense. So I feel like, to tie on to what China was saying, that a center for DEI or center for multicultural is what is needed, at least on this campus. And that's my answer.
Great, thank you so much. So now we'd like to turn the opportunity to you to be able to ask questions of our students. I thought we had microphones in the audience to circulate. Did you want to ask a question, or were you going to help circulate the microphone? Thank you. Questions from the audience? And thank you for circulating the mic. Appreciate it.
So if I was coming from, I guess, I can't do a student perspective, but if I were to go to one of those organizations that, say, we have the Latino, the Black, if I was coming there and if I was of a different ethnicity, what would cause me to feel a part of that community if I were to come in as a student? You know, do you understand what I'm saying? If I was white or any other ethnicity coming in to any type of student group, how would I feel like I'm a sense of belonging where I can get to know you as a person other than just through our ethnicity?
And you guys don't have to answer in order now, so whoever wants to take that question.
For Davenport, we actually have different RSOs, one of them being the Black Student Union, which I'm actually president of. But with the Black Student Union, we like to let people know when we're advertising our RSO that anyone is welcome to come and talk. So we have these meetings where we get together and we don't necessarily set a certain topic for what we're going to talk about at the meeting. I like to let the classroom tell me, like, how are you feeling about what's going on right now in society? What do you want to talk about? Like, who wants to start off the conversation? And that actually helps our students to open up with each other. And just being a few weeks into the semester, we've already grown in numbers, and we actually have a few new student members that are actually not Black, who are Latino. So we are struggling a little bit right now to get white students to come to these meetings just because they see the title Black Student Union and they're kind of thrown off by it because they feel like, oh, I'm not Black, I can't attend this. But more so, the Black Student Union is made to better the community as a whole. At Davenport, in Grand Rapids, yes, we're founded on bettering the Black community as a whole because that's what we are pertaining to. Just so, like, I can relate that to my sorority. Yes, we were founded by Black members. Yes, we're trying to better the Black community, but that doesn't mean that you have to be Black to better the Black community. There were white people marching with Martin Luther King. They weren't all Black. So I just feel like it's more of a people being comfortable thing. So we try to we don't try to make people comfortable necessarily. We try to stretch out the fact that you do not have to be Black, you don't have to be Latino, you don't even have to be a minority. We want different opinions, because how are we gonna grow if we're all Black in the room and we like, yeah, protesting the national anthem, we should do it then, da-da-da-da. But it might be someone who's white and was like, okay, well, this is my opinion, but instead of us bashing your opinion, we want to hear what you have to say. We want to try to understand where you are coming from, because we all have a different understanding and opinion, and that can be brought to our attention. So I think that would be great. It's just like with this panel.
Also like to touch base on that a little bit too. With the Black Student Union at Hope College, we have a volunteer and activities fair the first week of school, and students are welcome to go to like all the different student organizations and learn about them. And we talk about our mission with BSU. It's building strength through unity not just within the Black race, but all races. And we really try to be intentional in articulating that. But again, these spaces are specifically for conversations relating to Black history and Black culture and what is affecting us now. So I don't think it's our responsibility to make white students feel like they are welcome in our organization. But we do say all are welcomed, and those who want to learn and celebrate cultural diversity pretty much like know whether they do want to come to these organizations or not. So we're not gonna beg students to come, but I think we are intentional in noting that this is a place of unity for all students on campus.
So I've been the vice president and the president of the Hispanic Student Organization, and throughout those years, I have greatly noticed my peers move on to better and greater things. They've gone to Western, Calvin, Ferris, and Grand Valley. And so what I've noticed is that when they get to those other schools, they tell me things about their clubs and how like they kind of don't feel connected. Something that I've always tried to do with the clubs at CC is try to get connected with each club and then try to, collaborate. And sometimes it's the fault of the student who leads the group, because maybe they don't connect with the other student groups at the club. And that's something that I've really tried to do and help my e-board do. And I think like with the staff, if they could help maybe new coming leaders, like just guide them in a way where they can connect with all the other clubs and make it easier to like collaborate, there would be less of a friction between maybe HSO, just because you're Hispanic, you go to HSO, or BSU, just because you're Black, you'll go to BSU.
We have another question. Getting the steps in today.
All right, so my question is for the students that actually attend a university that has the multicultural office. How beneficial do you think it is to your learning at the university? And when you were going through your process of selecting that university, was that something that you really wanted, or was it something that just kind of fell in place as you tried to find your way through college?
Okay, so at Grand Valley, we actually do have an Office of Multicultural Affairs. I believe they are very important on our campus. A lot of people go to them for advice. A lot of people go to their office just to hang out. I work with people in the office, such as there's an organization on our campus called Black Male Scholars Initiative, which Bobby Springer, who works in the OMA, is actually over as well. So like, they do a lot of stuff on campus. They're not just the office. They're actually on campus meeting students and people. If you ask them, if you ask any student on our campus, who are the people in the OMA, they'll be able to tell you who they are. When selecting GVSU, that really wasn't, I didn't really look at GVSU because of that. That just, like you said, that kind of fell into place. And because of that, I got more acquainted with GVSU and became easier making the transition from high school to college.
So we do have our multicultural student development office, or I think it's intercultural student development office now. Sorry, Kyrie. But when I chose Calvin College, I kind of just fell into it somehow. I didn't, it was actually very awkward. I went to Kelloggsville High School, and they took every qualified minority student, put us into a small room, and said, you guys should go to Entrada. And I'm like, I don't have anything better to do with my life, so I went. And it counted as a college application. I'm like, okay, great. I'm a first-generation college student. I have to pay for all these applications. I'll just go to Calvin. So I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So I definitely went into culture shock, and I was able to kind of like subdue that a little bit by staying on the grassroots floor, which was a floor in a dorm that focused specifically on social justice. So that was kind of like my comfort zone. So I didn't really go to it's MSDO, Multicultural Student Development. So I never really went to that office, and it wasn't until after my gap year and I went back to Calvin, and all my friends had just moved on. I'm like, wow, I don't have anyone that I really relate to here. So I found that office as something that was a safe space for me, if we want to use that term, even though it's thrown around all the time. But the thing I would say about that for campuses that do not have it or do and are looking to better it, we only have a few people within our office, and compared to the amount of students of color that we have, I'm pretty sure that our staff is exhausted. Sometimes the students are like, oh my goodness, I went to go talk to so-and-so and they couldn't help me. But if you had 25 other students going to talk to this staff member, they can only give so much. And if they're constantly emptying themselves, they don't have the time to rejuvenate and give good advice to students who actually need it. So we need to make sure that we're getting more faculty into these departments to be able to deal with the students that are coming in, because if you think about it, they're coming in with issues with their classes, issues with their mental health, on top of racism, which is extremely detrimental to someone's well-being, and they have to deal with things that are going on at their home, and that means they have to deal with their family's burdens of dealing with these racial tensions as well. So it's a lot that one student is coming in with and they have to handle, and they're gonna let that all out onto a person that they feel comfortable with. So you have to make sure that you have an adequate amount of faculty to handle that. And it should be people of color, because it's good to see someone that looks like you that you can talk to that kind of understands it as well, but it shouldn't be limited to that, because we need to make sure that we have allies as well that are other places in the campus, because I don't want to go just to the MSDO office to talk about social justice. I should be able to go to my professors that are in the history department or the religion department, and I felt like I took like the safe way out by going to the social work department because they get it. But I feel bad. I really do. I genuinely feel bad for my friends in the business department and in the engineering department who don't have that person. So like the safe space is a really good place to have on campus, but it needs to it should be planted, but the roots need to go everywhere on campus for it to like truly be successful.
Colleges really want to hear the student voice, and you do a Survey Monkey and you get a low response. What give all of these universities your advice on how to create ways and pathways for communication to capture the student voice? How would you feel comfortable supplying your thoughts to administration, faculty? You said you had friends who were afraid of failing the class should they voice their concerns. In what ways could we offer you so that you could have a voice?
I think this is a start. I think this is a good start right here, such as a student panel in front of, people willing to listen and actually take notes on, what we want change. That's a good start. And I think at GVSU, we have lib study classes, and they have this thing where you go to an event and you write a paper on it. It's lib 100, lib 200 approved. If we can make more discussion, real talk discussions like this, things like that people are required to go to, where people have to listen, where people have to pay attention to write a paper, I believe that would also create, people start listening. That would bring the faculty, because not only the students have to go, the faculty have to go as well. So now we have a room full of people who have to listen, whether they want to or not. It would be nice if they really wanted to, which I believe the majority of them probably would, but now they have to listen, they have to take notes, and they have to take what they're hearing and actually apply it to their daily lives in order to make that paper effective or that assignment effective. You can't be a teacher teaching them one way and you're acting a different way. You know what I mean? Does that answer your question?
Okay. For Davenport University, I feel like especially here, we need to do something because we're a growing campus. And when we're growing, I feel like we should take into consideration our faculty and our staff that you're hiring. We should take into consideration making sure that we're hiring of different ethnicities or cultures, making sure that we have a diverse faculty and staff. Because like she was saying, like she feels bad for the students that were in the business building. I'm a finance major. In my classes, I'm not only the only black female, I'm the only black person. So when I'm struggling with my classes, I don't know who to go to. I'd be stressed out because a lot of my professors, they don't know how to help me. I don't know who to go talk to. I don't know who to go speak with in certain situations. Like, I feel like we just need different people here. We're growing. I know we're going to have more staff eventually coming, where we started off as a small campus. We're doing better, but I feel like we need to do even better, especially if you want to bring in more diversity to the campus besides just the athletics. We have to worry about the culture of the campus, which at Davenport right now, I don't know what the culture is of our campus at this moment. It's so everywhere, it's just mixed because it's so much going on at once. And for students like me and other students, we're stressed, we don't know what to do. And it's like I said, being a black female in the business administration, especially the finance field, I don't know who to go to. I go to my mom and she doesn't know how to help me. So I just feel like we need to do better with our faculty and staff, making sure they are diverse, and with our faculty that are already here, we need to educate them. Some of them may not see from the point of view that we're seeing it. They may not see like, oh, she feel like the world is against her right now. I feel like all the odds are against me already in my field. There's not many black females. I already feel like the odds are against me. If I saw one of my professors as a black female, even teaching accounting or one of my finance classes, that would make me feel so much more better about what I'm going into. I don't see that.
Okay, so first, I just want to shout out Ms. Green. She's our Associate Dean of Students at Hope College and our Director for Center for Diversity and Inclusion. I'm confused and surprised that some of these colleges and universities don't even have a center for diversity and inclusion or office for multicultural education. I think that's a necessity on all of these campuses, and I understand that some staff and faculty may not know how to go about talking about social justice in their class, which is why our Diversity Institute has these workshops that I think all these campuses should have. That way, social justice isn't just isolated to the arts and humanities, because I do understand that like in the STEM fields, we're not having these conversations, and it may be hard to relate social justice to the natural sciences, but it can be done. For example, even speaking about like the Tuskegee study and how that affected, and how like the injection of like syphilis affected black men. That's a social justice issue and a sciences issue. These conversations can easily be had. So I definitely think it's just creating these spaces and workshops for staff and faculty to better develop their intelligence on this or knowledge?
Something that I just like to say is that sometimes like you guys give us surveys online, you guys are gonna email them to us, but a lot of times like we don't really respond to the emails at all. I would be more respondent to doing a survey if it was in class. I know it would take like time off the class, but like that's just what I get. Me and my friends like normally don't do the surveys. We're just like, oh yeah, it's in the email. I'm gonna get to it. Oh, it passed. Okay, well, I didn't do it, and that's it.
To tie on to that, actually, a good way to do a survey, too, would actually be being out on the front lines, not just emailing someone. So times from they get out of class at 1:20, you should be like right out there where the classes are, where they come out and be like, hey, like, and actually have people who can go to them and have a conversation and talk to them. And you can even do the survey that way, or you can have it where there's a PC laying there on the table. Sorry, I don't know. And actually say, hey, do you mind if you could do the survey? And some students will actually come and say, what is this for? And actually want to know, and that's how you can get some responses as well.
Follow-up?
I also think incentives are really nice, right? I'm gonna be real with you. If you throw in like a chocolate or something while you're doing it, then I'll likely do the survey. So.
Not even that. Some of my teachers don't have extra credit. I need that will 1%. You know what I'm saying? That helped me out. That 1%.
I think we have time for one last question.
First of all, I'd like to commend all of you for being on the panel and all of this great insight that you're giving to us. The second thing is not necessarily a question, but I would like to recommend to those of you who don't have a diversity center to advocate for one. So if you need information about self-advocacy, you can see some of us before we leave.
So I think that's about as much time as we have. If you would help me thank our distinguished panel. And I'll turn it back over to Tony.
And also, please,